Proverbs 11, March 11. Guys, we're reading a proverb for every day in March so that by the end of the month, we'll receive all of the wisdom that the Proverbs have to offer. Now, Proverbs 11 is all about prosperity and more so on God's blessing, which I love. And it talks a lot about this prosperity and how we should interpret it and go about living our lives in terms of prosperity. I love it so much. And over these last few days, I've just been continuing to work on my longer form content because, again, I'm just starting. And yesterday, we got into the couplets, the first chapter of couplets in the Proverbs, and it's longer. And yesterday I went through every single verse, and I honestly didn't really like that. It took too long, in my opinion. So with today, we're going to try something different. We're just going to go about the main principle and highlight the verses that really stick to that. And so again, I encourage you and would love for you to go read Proverbs 11 right now or along with me. But yeah, we're going to try a new change right now. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So Proverbs 11, all about prosperity. Verse 4, riches won't help you on the day of judgment with the right living, but right living can save you from death. What this is saying, very, very obvious to interpret, in my opinion. Riches, what you get here on earth, what you store up, whether it's wealth, money, fame, opportunities, whatever it is, everything that you do here in the physical world, here on earth, it stays here on earth. When you die, the only thing that matters is what happens to your spirit, and do you know Jesus Christ? Because if you do know Jesus Christ, you're going to be reconnected back to God the Father for eternity. It's going to be the most glorious thing ever. But if you don't, that is a dangerous place to be, because then you're going to be eternally separated from God, better known as hell. So your riches here, you can work for riches. However, it shouldn't be what you're working for. God is who you're working for, but you should be working, and you can get these riches as a tool. Now, continuing on, verse 8. Wait, no. Yes, verse 7, 6. Golly, I'm tripping. Verse 6, the godliness of good people rescue them, and the ambition of treacherous people trap them. All right, check this out. The ambition of treacherous people trap them. Now, I don't want you to see this and be like, oh, ambition is a bad thing. Ambition's a great thing. If you can be instilled and flowing with ambition, you're on a really, really good track. But note this, the ambition of treacherous people traps them. So what that means, treacherous is more so deceptive. So if you want to interpret that, say the ambition of deceptive people trap them. So this is talking to the person that is willing to do anything at all costs for their own self-benefit and their own self-riches, meaning they're willing to expend anything and everything, including people, and putting other people under them so that they can elevate. It's talking to those people. That ambition, the people that are willing to do whatever it takes, no matter what, including expending people, that is what will trap them. Okay, so continuing on, verse 7. When the wicked die, their hopes die with them, for they rely on their own feeble strength. I just love the word feeble here. Our humanity is so feeble, and especially in comparison to God. God is our rock, our solid foundation, that we should put our everything, our every strength in Him. But I just really wanted to highlight that, because our feeble strength, when we try to do life on our own, we're going to fail 10 times out of 10. It's just we will never make it without God. And that is the best thing, because He gives us something more to focus on and look on. Let's see, verse 11. Upright citizens are good for a city and make it prosper. I love this. Those who love God and know God and work for God with everything and love Him with everything, you benefit and those around you benefit. The city benefits when upright citizens, aka those who love God and do God's work, they're good for a city and they make everything prosper. I love it so much. Now, continuing on, verse 17, your kindness will reward you, but your cruelty will destroy you. If you're kind, you'll be rewarded. But again, God doesn't necessarily work only financially. This is not saying if you're kind, you'll be rich. And this is not saying if you're kind, you'll get a lot of money. What this is saying, though, is if you're kind, which can also be said, if you have the Spirit and are living with the fruits of the Spirit, you will be rewarded with God's blessing, which, like we determined yesterday in Proverbs 10, God's blessing doesn't necessarily mean financial blessing. It oftentimes can, but God's blessing can be interpreted as many things. Maybe it's opportunities, maybe it's people and relationships, maybe it is money, maybe it is being able to withstand and have boldness and courage in times of affliction. Maybe it's having the ability to really help and care for someone. But all at the end of the day, the definition of God's blessing in our lives is His will being enacted in ours. And that is the coolest thing ever. When the God of the universe wants to personally be in your life and input His will in your life, That is God's blessing. Continuing on, verse 19, godly people find life, evil people find death. Very self-explanatory here. If you know and love God, because of Jesus Christ, we can have life. Because of Jesus Christ, we can be reunited back to God, defeating our sin that has been plaguing us for so long. But Jesus overcame that sin on the cross 2,000 years ago. Beautiful. I love him so much. And that is unconditional love, because a lot of us at the end of the day that he died for aren't going to choose him, which burdens my heart. And I want to minimize that number as much as possible. But then again, on the flip, evil people, which evil is also just the absence of God. That's what that means. So people that are living lives absent of God are going to ultimately find death, which is just living eternally absent from God, which is a very scary place to be, because that means that all things fly that are not good, because all good and perfect things come from God, aka hell. That's where those people end up, which is scary, very scary. Continuing on, verse 23: the godly can look forward to a reward, while the wicked can expect only a judgment. This is one of the coolest things about Christianity, probably one of the most um, fundamental principles that exist in Christianity, is that what gives us our drive is our hope of looking after we die. That's the craziest thing ever, is that actually true life begins once we die here. That's why we can navigate and go through our lives like nothing really matters, because at the end of the day, worst case scenario for humans is we die, and that's the end of it. But that, in our eyes, is the start of a glorious, new, redeemed life, which is the best thing to think about and comprehend. So that's why that gives Christians the strength to endure. And that's why Jesus says those who endure to the end will be saved, is because we have something so good to look forward to beyond this life that cannot be affected. It can't be conditioned. It can't be compromised, because it is God's unconditional love and his grace overflowing through Jesus to us. It is beautiful, and I'm so thankful for it, and I want everyone to know about it. That is an awesome principle about Christianity. Verse 24, give freely and become more wealthy. Be stingy and lose everything. Verse 25, the generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. I just love, it's this idea of give and you actually receive. Now, this is very contrary to what a lot of people think. How in the world can you give and actually get more wealthy? Because you're expending, but you're not inflowing. But God is saying right here, those who give gain a lot of wealth. And this is beyond financial wealth as well. Because one of the biggest principles that exist in these two verses is that when you are able to be generous all the time and have no care or worry for giving, the biggest thing you overcome is being enslaved to your possessions. Meaning that if you are unable to give, if you care about your money so much and make it your master and your ruler, that, and you're not able to give it because you're so self-consumed and needing the money, or thinking and wanting the money, then that money's going to dictate your life. And I want to reiterate, money is not a bad thing. Money can be a great tool. However, it is the love for money that is the root of evil. It is not money is the saying is not money is the root of all evil, even though that's what it's commonly said. It's the love for money is the root of all evil. Because when you love money and start to put it on par with God, that is when it becomes a problem, because that's when it'll start dictating things in your life. But if you use it as a tool to be able to bless those around you and to use it and bring prosperity to everyone, like we saw in verse 11 with the city, that is where blessing comes, and that's where God's will be enacted in your life. But if you become stingy with it, verse 24 tells you you're going to lose it. Now, verse 28, trust in your money and down you go, but the godly flourish like leaves in spring. Again, what I just said. If you make your money your everything, you're going to go down, because you're trusting in possessions. And when you trust in anything that is not God, you will always come short. You will always go down, as verse 28 is saying. So, guys, Proverbs 11, all about prosperity. I love it so much. Honestly, I just love you guys so much. That's Proverbs 11, and I will see you tomorrow for Proverbs 12. Peace.